It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the CCDR committee meeting. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to any of my committee members with any updates.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Gaskins.
I just wanted to discuss briefly movie in the park, just making sure we have a finalized date and just trying to get a consensus from everyone. I know that you and I had discussed maybe an October date, early October. We don't want it too cold, but we don't want it hot. We want it nice, that perfect temperature, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I was just wondering if anybody had any Saturday ideas. I know the community had said that they didn't want, Saturdays are the best when I did a poll a couple months ago. So are there any Saturdays that you guys would like to see this happen on?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Tykechester.
the only Saturday I know we can't do it on is the 18th because of Fall Festival. So
Yes, ma'am.
when we're looking at dates, make sure we stay clear. That's the third
The
Saturday.
18th of what?
October.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're looking to do this in October?
Before it gets too cold.
Yeah, before it gets too chilly. So maybe like October 4th or October 11th?
Ooh, let's do 10-4
Huh?
10-4.
because I just wanted to say 10-4.
10-4. I think 10-4 is good because it's still nice and warm. It's the perfect fall. It
Well-
gets dark early.
Yeah.
Movie in
Movie in
the
the
park.
park.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go, Ms. Zort.
is there still time to get that in the newsletter?
Yes.
As long as there's time.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow is our day where we send everything to the print. Not to be printed. We kind of have a go back and forth. So do you have a flyer?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Gaskins.
are you okay with me creating a flyer and sending it to Ms. Dukestein by tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.?
Well, first, let's determine what date are we going to pick for this day.
What park?
Yes, and what I mean, I'll excuse it this time, but that's a great question too, as far as what location too. Where?
So let's, I know that there were a couple buildings. We were going to use sides of buildings.
I mean, do we have any idea which ones?
If I can make a suggestion,
Yes.
I would say here
Mhm.
because the parking lot, and then you can open up the facility for bathroom usage.
Okay.
And then we can do,
That's a good
we have
idea.
a popcorn machine and then
So-
drinks and popcorn.
So will we be able to project off the building, or will we
I
bring a
don't
screen?
know.
Now,
There's plants over on that side now, aren't there?
What'd you say?
I was gonna say there's plants on that side. At least would be a blank slate. but-
would
Mr.
that,
Chair?
just give me a second. Would that put us, Ms. Zort, would that put us in their parking lot over there though, if we go on
Yeah,
that
we
side
would.
of the building?
Couldn't do that side.
So.
If we ask their permission to,
Well, suggestively, I want to say this. I do have a screen, and I think Mayor Nichols said that she has one.
She does.
If I'm correct. So if you might want to reach out, Ms. Dukestein, if you can see if that's possible, we'll go with that. Other than that, if we got the location, then let's just determine the date. If we're going to use this location, that's great. Then what date are we going to do it on?
I think Ms. Chichester and I like 10-4, so.
So, are y'all sure y'all want to do it before the Fall Fest?
I think so because it'll be cold afterwards.
And it's 2 weeks prior, and it's a different event. It'll,
Are you thinking this month? What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, I was thinking, considering that the 22nd of September will be the last official day of summer here. So, like, I mean, do we have a lot of events going on towards the end of September? We do? Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
we
I don't
have-
want it to,
We're coming into our
yeah, a fall,
busy season.
yeah,
We've got our fall festival. We got trunk or treat.
Right.
We have our tree lighting ceremony.
Then the-
we have our winter wonder.
Present, yeah,
And then
yeah.
we also have the DAV run. So
Okay.
that's 5 events
Okay.
between now and the end of the year,
Yes,
which is
ma'am.
only what 4 months.
so,
So if we're adding this, that's a lot.
Yes.
And I would say that I would like for Miss Miles to conduct and organize the logistics of all recreational events.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're doing this, then I will lean on you all
to
for
give
this
her a
last
hand,
event
to give her a hand.
because this is being
Yeah.
sprung on her. She's
Mhm.
also finalizing
Yes.
the newsletter, and then she has tasks that require end of year, like budgeting, grants, all of those things.
That's correct.
So I don't want to add this to her
Yeah,
Please.
Plate.
because we're just putting it on.
that's correct.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Alexander.
are we gonna say like a time, or are we just saying at sunset, or?
Usually
is that gonna
they're
be
at
on the flyer?
sunset.
Is
Yeah.
that gonna be on the flyer, so people
think-
know what time to kind of
I
start
think
showing up?
I think it's best to start around sunset.
And I think, I was watching the news the other day, they said
and
the other day was the last 8 o'clock
Yeah.
sunset we were having.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a lot sooner, so.
Sooner, yeah, it'll come around about
Or
About 8.
5 or 6.
I've also seen them say sunset or 7:30.
Right,
Yeah, that's
right.
what I
I
was
mean,
But I will say is I went to one over at Life Springs Church.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see the movie because the sun was still shining.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to be careful about that.
so also too, I mean, do we have a ideal of what security gonna look like for that? I mean, will we be taken away from that department also?
This is a last minute ask,
Mm-hmm.
so
I mean, I'm
you're on your own.
I'm just saying. I just want to make sure if we use it as the standard. I mean, if we just just the standard. I mean, those who we can just sit there and make sure
I
others
mean,
things go
transparently,
right.
you don't have to do it outside. You could just
Yeah.
do it inside.
This is true.
I mean, what?
Just cast it up on the wall. I mean, I think it would be nice to have it outside. I'm not
Same.
discouraging you, but
Well, I mean,
We could do
that-
weather
that's-
permitting outside.
So I'm about to say, let's kind of try and play that more by ear, because depending on whether the weather,
We can have
depending
that
on
on
the
the
weather,
flyer, weather
yeah,
permitting.
weather permitting.
Yes.
Because I mean, if it comes to that day and then the weather is not just the way we thought it would be, we can transfer to being inside and just prepare the unit for that.
So it could be snowing.
good.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, it
Bite your
could be,
tongue,
but
Joe Zord.
listen, we live in Cincinnati,
I see a
Ohio.
snowflake.
I done see some of the craziest weather.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do we have an idea what movie, or do you want to put that on the flyer, like what are
What-
we watching?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Now I do know that we have a license to show certain movies, so I can get with Councilman Wilson and see.
Movie to be announced, just
Yeah.
put it on the flyer, and then movie, more details later on what movie, because, I mean,
I
unless you
will-
know right now.
And we'll post when we,
Yeah, yeah.
we know it has to be
It just
PG,
has to be
PG.
for it to be in the newsletter, which it doesn't actually have to be in the newsletter to get advertised. I mean, you can still, I can give you dates so you can have some clarity. So for it to be in the newsletter, you will need to have it to Miss Lataya in a complete fashion by 2 p.m. tomorrow, because she leaves for the day at 2. And then the newsletter is scheduled to go out September the 23rd.
Okay.
So that will get it out should get it
So
to
we'll
every
have to be in
household
October
by the
for
30th.
that.
Because
So October 4th.
I don't know why, but they will send it out, all of them on the same day, and it takes a week for everyone to get them. So sometimes, and then some of them are even held up past that.
Well, that 4th is the first. Well, the 3rd is that first Friday of October, so, we do food trucks on that day, but we want to switch them since it's that close.
We'll probably start.
Try to like
Hosting.
put the
Yeah,
food,
well then,
see if you can get the
then-
food
It's
truck
still tight.
here on the same.
yeah, I was
very
thinking, but
tight.
then also too, is folks really gonna want to spend that level of money?
Yeah, that's what we're
eating?
just talking about, the
Yeah,
popcorn for
yeah,
the.
That's what I'm
thing.
saying. Like, I mean, we're just doing a movie, so they probably won't. We'll just, we'll keep it where it's at.
Yeah, I think that's
And,
best.
yeah, leave it there. As far as this 4th date, though,
I have a question.
I don't know. We gotta.
No.
I have a question. What does the seating look like? Is it, bring your, I was
Yeah,
about to
bring
say
your
be
own
wild,
chair.
If
bring
we
your own blanket,
outside, bring your own chair. Yeah.
Yeah, blanket.
And matter of fact,
Or-
to be honest,
Could almost make it like a drive-in.
I mean, depending on the setup, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll have a speaker for folks to be able to hear. So to be honest, I mean, you probably could be able to sit in your car
Yeah.
and watch it
Cannot
the
sit in
car.
your car.
Okay.
And here's why. One, our parking lot is very small, and we have to be parked in a way that if we had a fire or an emergency, that
Okay.
people can
Bring
get
it
through
in
the
and
lanes.
out. Okay, then.
And
Well,
so I don't think that we would be able to fit enough people with the way the parking is to do that. So one thing we do need to do is ask Frickers in the dialysis center, can people park down there and walk up so that they can prepare to do chairs?
Okay.
I'll write that down.
all right.
So,
Well, thank you.
can, Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
could we revisit the thought of having the food trucks there on Saturday? Because, and for two reasons, I think it was in March or April of this year, there was a poll sent out that asked, what would people like to see? And so some people would like to see Food Truck Friday on Saturday. And if people are coming out, then that gives the food trucks visibility because, we're all going to be here. They'll be like, oh, I haven't seen this food truck before. That may draw the crowd out to like get a funnel cake or to get some chicken. And then if they are not interested, then we would have the popcorn and drinks that would be free. Just a thought.
And if I could piggyback on that, I do think that having this, so you could have popcorn and drinks for those that want to be minimalists and spend very little for their little ones or themselves or however you decide to do it. And then for those that want to actually eat, if you did the food trucks in the parking lot on the side, they can do that as well.
Because I would eat. I would eat.
I can always
I would definitely
eat.
get a funnel cake, but I will be out of town, so I won't be able to help any.
So,
Mr. Chair,
that asks, I will just have to send a note to Miss Miles
I can do that.
and
I'll take that off
see
your
if,
plate.
yeah. I mean, please do, because I did turn that over to Recreation as far as scheduling them food trucks for Food Truck Fridays now.
So we can make that food truck Saturday.
Yeah. And see, well, yeah, do that, and let's probably try a pilot with that. Just depending on the turnout. I mean, I know we're gonna have the show there, the movies there, but we probably try and pilot that and see if we
Prior to,
can. Yeah, just.
See.
I mean, we'll see how that turn out, but we probably try and pilot that and see what we can do if we could make a change to get food trucks on Saturdays instead of the Fridays, and probably make a change if not. And probably make that change, if it benefits the, the city and the food trucks. Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Ward.
So I know we like the catchiness of the 10-4, but I wanted to just speak about the logistics of that. Ms. Sixteen said that the flyer will get mailed out on the 23rd. Sometimes it takes a week to get to people, which means some people might not get it until the 30th,
Right.
which means they only have 4 days' notice.
Right.
But you can put it out other spaces and places before
I understand that, but there are, we have a significant amount of residents that aren't on any kind of
Yeah,
social media.
social
And they
media,
rely on
yeah.
that newsletter.
Yeah.
I could update the city sign.
I'm just
Oh,
putting
no,
it
you're
out
fine.
there.
I was just giving suggestions
Yep.
about, maybe we can do a, what's it called? Phone blast with the school.
For the school, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I'm just saying other ways, because if we push it off, it'll be risk getting cold. Or we may not be able to
I'll-
Do it at all.
do it at all.
Also too, with it, so
It's cold, you can bring it indoors.
but also too, this is the first one. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, it's the beginning of, you know, many more. So I mean, it's kind of a more of a, you know, hey, let's see what we get and then work to fix it next year. So with that being said, I'm assuming Ms. Zorb, you're comfortable with the 4th.
Yeah.
Ms. Gaskins, you're comfortable with the 4th.
Yes.
Ms. Tychester, are you comfortable with the 4th?
Yeah, if we can get everything squared away, we'll be good.
And Ms. Alexander, are you comfortable with the 4th?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Davis, are you comfortable with the 4th?
Yes, I'm good with the 4th now, but also I do have a question, because I know the schools, the homecoming game is the 3rd. Is the dance normally?
Homecoming is the 4th.
Is the dance normally
Can't do
on
it.
the, is
Well,
the
do
dance
it.
normally the
Can't do it.
day
It's
after
right
or
there.
the day up? I'm asking.
We might have to cancel that
Yep.
day.
I won't be
Yep.
there.
There
Absolutely.
you go.
Go to the next week or
Because I
something.
know the game is the 3rd, but I
Yeah,
don't know when
homecoming
the
is
dance.
typically
Dance is
that
the 4th.
Saturday.
The dance
Yep.
is always on the Saturday after the game,
And is that held locally or?
Could you not have said that
in the
sooner?
school gym.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, could he not have said that sooner?
I mean, really, it was 15 minutes. Thank us for keeping us updated on the
Yeah, thanks.
football games
You
of the
know,
school.
hey.
I would have told me like, Ma, you
Yeah,
were
you
not gonna be
know.
there.
You could do, and then like you could do just kind of a Christmas themed movie, maybe attached to something.
was
I
thinking
don't
a
know, to
Halloween
maybe
theme.
just give it more
Listen,
time.
So with that being said, you guys are actually going to have to push that outside of the Fall Fest, which is the 18th, correct?
Well, what about the 25th? That's right before Halloween.
And it's the Fall Fest is the 18th, correct? So that'll be after the 25th. Will be afterwards. Fall Fest. How do you?
So can I ask if you, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask that you all communicate via email, and then if you do decide to push something out,
Have
I'll
it by
talk with
2.
Lataya and just know your deadline is 2 p.m. tomorrow, whatever you decide. Because
Well-
I want to give you the recreational update, and you did tell me I could have some of your time.
Yes,
and I need it.
you can, because we are just real quick. So we're going
minutes.
to have to figure that out
ASAP.
like ASAP.
I'm thinking of
Yeah.
25th.
The 25th.
I'm thinking of 25th.
Okay.
That's my vote.
So
About 25th.
real quick.
Not a vote. No, I didn't
No.
take that back. I wasn't trying to vote. That's just a slang.
That ain't listen. So do we want to go past that? We don't want to go past October with this, right or wrong?
I would not, I mean, unless we go with Ms. Dukestein's idea, which is to bring it inside. But I think the coolness is being outside and doing something.
I mean, that is the coolness about it. But I'm just saying, right now, with our schedules and everything that's going on, we have so many things that is going on, and we still have this event that we have to put on because it's one of the project events introduced to the committee. So, you know, what I want to do is make sure before we pass this over to Ms. Dukestein is to try and put a title on the date, like just what we're gonna do.
And
Mr.
that way-
Chair.
And the
Mr.
advertisement at the Fall Festival on the 18th that this is happening next weekend.
My girl, exactly,
So
yes.
is that what y'all want to do?
Yes.
The 25th.
The 25th.
The 25th, Mr. Davis.
Yep. Go.
Mr.
Is there anything else
Mr.
that going
President.
on? Chair.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there anything
Sorry.
on the 25th?
No, the game. No, reserve gets done like 2:00.
Okay, then. All right, Ms. Dukestein.
I do know that as we get into the latter part of October, we have a lot of bookings
Yes.
for the facility.
Yes.
So again, I would encourage you to email and check with Ben tomorrow.
As far as the 25th, to confirm the 25th. They want to
Yes.
do the 25th.
Because we have like weddings and
Okay.
all kind of things.
So we need to
coming.
call, and we need to get a confirmation on the 25th. So,
Mr. Chair, I have one more question.
Ms., is that Gaskins? Yes, that is. Go ahead.
Technically, no. Do we have to do movie in the park this year? Can we put that in the parking lot?
I thought that's what we said.
Not,
No. She's trying to say, can we just shelf it? Can we shelf it for,
Yes.
can we shelf it for next year?
Sorry, I was like, I thought we said we do it.
Because I know Ms. Dukestein, she got something. for
So
us.
let's park it and so we can move
You
forward.
guys can communicate via email.
Yeah. We'll
Just
talk
don't
about it.
reply all. That's a meeting.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Dukestein, you got the floor.
Okay, thank you. So recreational director would like to submit her report. She's not able to be here tonight. She said she wanted to invite all of council to participate in the trunk or treat taking place on October the 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. So we need cars with candy.
There.
Then I am currently, or not cars with candy, cars with something. It could be toys. She says she's currently working to get involved with We Thrive. So this is a project that I asked her to start on. I had a meeting with the We Thrive person, and there are some dollars, not necessarily for this, but I'd like to personally see this. Ms. Stevens-Knott and I talked quite extensively about those. Have you seen those electrical boxes going that are painted in like Finneytown and some of the other things? I think it's a really nice ad. We're actually painting our fire hydrants. So that project is going to take like 2 years to get all of them painted, but they're going to do the main streets first, and they're going to turn red. They're no longer going to be yellow, and so red is the most lasting color, which is why they're doing it red. And so for a bunch of reasons, and then I think that would be a nice ad if we can find some dollars to do that. And so she's working to coordinate that. And then she is also working on her budget for this year. She's at about 56% of her budget. And so she wanted me to share, as she's evaluating, that the lion's share of her spending happens in the back half of her budget, because even though she's at 56 as of August. I think she got those numbers today, right? And so that's actually pretty good, because we're in the we're in the 9th month, but her numbers are probably through, they are through August. So 56% is really good, but that's because the lion's share of her spending are on these events that are in the back half. And so then she says funds have went towards payroll, Juneteenth celebration, Party in the Park, and the car show. And then our upcoming events include Fall Festival, DAV Run, Light Up, Winter Wonderland, and I think she didn't have Trunk or Treat in there. So then there's that. So I'm going to move on. And so I have a few other kind of real quick items that I need to, I don't know, I expected to have the other 2 meetings, and I did not have them. So these are things that I can talk about in these meetings, but because that's information that I want to get to you all. So to me, it is a happy dance we got today in via email from the Board of Elections that our levy numbers are 6 and 7, fire levy 6, street levy 7. So any future advertisements or campaigning or rallying for people to support the levies will be now referred to as 6 and 7. I know that doesn't register big for you, but it is a lot to get these levies on the ballot and to do it right successfully the first time, given some of our track record. It's a super big win, so excited about that.
could
I'ma
you
say it
repeat
to-
which one was which again? Which one's 6, which
The
one's?
fire levy is 6.
Thank you.
And the street levy is 7. I sent the language out. I mean, we won all the way around. We got the language right and everything. I know that it's renewal, but if you knew our track record, you know that is a win, a win, win, win. So, and then there was some public safety items that I wanted to kind of talk about that can fit into the recreational. committee. So there's the Hamilton County Public Health Department, and they have a program called Safe Routes. I met with her last week, and there is some funding out there for us. And so we are going to work with the school board to try to create, it's a timely situation, some things that we can add around the school areas to create safe routes for kids. So then I wanted to follow up with you guys based on the trash lids, and we had talked about the trash cans. So Hamilton County Resource Program is the one that provided us the trash lids. So far, 15 have come in, and their Public Works is working to recap them. Okay. And then I think this is the last kind of thing that I wanted to touch on. Two more things, sorry. So you all know about the building, over here at Italianate, the 2 parcel numbers that are represented up there at that building. So one of them, the first one was sold August 11th, 2011. The second one was sold June 16th, 2014. The reason those dates are important is because the Italianate building was sold the 16th. I got a report, which we get on an annual level. I have been researching and digging to see what ties us to having to pay for that septic tank that cleans out from the old previous dry cleaners. So I've learned that there's a couple things that ties us to it. One is a document that we made. And so legally it should have been attached to the deed. It wasn't. And the reason it wasn't is because we made the agreement in 2011. The building was sold in 2014. So quite naturally, that responsibility should have transferred with the sale of that building. We don't actually have anything with the older owner of Italianate. It was signed by Mayor Brooks, and we have an operational and maintenance agreement between Ohio EPA, and that's really important because somebody has to keep this up. So I will tell you, I looked up the cost of that building. We sold that building for $200,000. There's another document that I have that says there was some other fees and things that they paid for to have that. I'm thinking that it might be the parcel next to that because there are 3 up there, and this only mentions 2. So I believe between the 2 of them, the total parcel amount sale was $417,000. We have paid them back for the amount that they paid for the building and the fees that we upkeep from the time that they bought the building until current day.
Okay, so
This is exhaustive, and we need to find a way to peacefully say, this is your property, you own it, and we would like to come up with a truce that alleviates us from the responsibility. So then there's that. I just wanted to give an update because this is taking a really long process, and just in pieces, I'm digging out of a hole to try to solve this as an issue. And then the other thing that I have, and we will not be able to touch all of this. So I was talking to Cheney today because he put out the letter that reminds all of us about the curfew that the students will be held accountable for, and the level of accountability for the parents in that. So we pulled up the legislation, and I just want to read this. It says, no minor between the ages of 6 and 18 years of age shall be in any public place within the city except in attendance at school between 8:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. on any given day. So that piece of the letter that he put out does not have time on it, and I'm going to keep it that way. Here's why. Because the high schoolers start at 8:05. The middle schoolers start at 8:15. The elementary start at 8:25. So that gives them 5 minutes past that. So if any of them we don't want them lingering around. I know part of the problem was that they were late, But part of the problem is we just want to give them some time to get to school, in increment weather and those kinds of things. And then the 2:30 is the same kind of explanation. So if the high schoolers, they let out at 3:05, if they are being dismissed at 2:30, like they don't have a last bell, or some of them are coming from the Oaks, they're getting dropped off. They're just standing outside waiting to walk home with safe partners, which is we want to encourage safety.
Okay.
And then
Okay, Ms. Dukesting, I hate to cut you off, but it is 7:30, and I'm going to go ahead and close the CCDR meeting. It is, like I said, it's the end of that meeting, so sorry to cut you off, Ms. Dukesting, but. All right. Ms.
All righty.
Chair.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Madam
Yield.
Chair,
Yes.
can I have the first 2 minutes of your meeting?
You can take the first 10, because I see that you have a stack.
No, I don't.
All right.
That's other than that. That's
You sure?
So
Okay, go
Madam
ahead.
Chair, hold on, Madam Chair, can I be
Yes,
excused?
you may be excused.
All right, thank you.
so then
Excuse to leave?
Yes, I need.
Yes.
okay, so then 2:30, same kind of thing. So I think the piece of legislation initially, I was bringing this to you all tonight to change it to deal with the new times. But when I looked at the start and stop times of school and then the enforcement, I think these times still fit,
Okay.
even though this has not been updated since 2012. So that is it. And now we can dig right in to our finance stuff.
Awesome. All righty.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Madam Mayor?
if I could, just because he cut it off before I can come up, when Ms. Dukestein spoke about the grant for the Safe Route to Schools,
Okay.
that
yes.
usually compiles of like a committee. I will look back through my email and through my notes, and I know before, I think Ms. Zorb sat on it a long time ago. We did. It was,
Wasn't really long.
there's been another one since you,
Okay.
so it was.
What was the committee name? I'm sorry.
It was the Safe Routes to School Committee.
Oh, okay. So
it
y'all
was
just named
the
the committee.
police chief
Mhm.
at the time. It was myself. Cheryl Long was here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Ms. Zorb and somebody else was there. I can't remember. And then they've had another one since. The last one was, I believe, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last document I had. It was in partnership with the school district, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So just keeping that in mind, we might want to consider. I think the last email from the 2020, when I looked at, went out to all of council.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on who wants to be on it, and we need to get together to see who those parties are.
Madam Chair.
Hold on, I was going to ask one question. Do we need to invite the PTA in on that too, their collaboration with the school ad hoc?
I would
No, or just keep
not
it
at
city?
first initially.
Okay,
I mean, because you know when you have so many different people involved,
okay.
it starts to
Get messy.
get out of hand, and we need to organize first and
And then-
then decide initially what.
Okay,
So that'll come with more information later on down.
okay. So,
I just wanted to put that out there.
Madam Chair, so the mayor is correct, and that's potentially what we're doing. When I met with her last week,
mhm.
she's trying to get the city constituent in place with the recreational director,
Mhm.
superintendent, and maybe another person. So then
Awesome.
we can start brainstorming on how to start the process and create a committee to get the resources that are available to us to make some of the routes more safe.
And I can tell you the person who initiated it more so the last time with the school district has retired, no longer there, so.
Right. Safe routes to school, I'm putting that on the list. Where'd that go?
Madam Chair.
Oh, yes, Ms. Gastins, I forgot, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to say that I, just to put it on record, that I would be interested in being on that committee.
Yes, me as well. I think I vaguely remember something. So,
Y'all had a PowerPoint.
awesome. Anything else, Ms.
If I can-
Dukestein, Ms. Mayor? Madam Mayor? Okay. While they're setting up that, I need to grab my Can you grab my little cushion out of Ms. Dukestein's office for me? You probably move faster than I do.
No,
Yes.
you can go grab it. It's right there.
It's like
on that
burgundy and
couch.
gold. I'm over here twisting and turning.
He was talking to me, I'm like, is it open?
Okay. Everybody got the budget and finance agenda? Sorry, there was tweaks to it. What'd you say?
I was counting the members. He's not a member, is
No, but he's welcome. I always leave the budget and finance committee open to other council members that want to come observe or be a part of the conversations. Mr. Davis don't have to go anywhere today. I don't know why my screen won't stay on. What'd you say?
It said it says it's possessed.
I know. Me too. It takes the pressure off my nerves.
That's as good as you get.
As good as it gets.
I don't have the presentation.
I didn't send her the PowerPoint. She's doing it off the PDF, so. But good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, am I supposed to be talking?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
We
okay.
starting with you with the month-end report in July. You are number one on the list.
All right, that's what's up. So everyone has their packet, and it's full of all great information. Just to kind of run down our standard, we're creating what the standard report will look like. And I think I've arrived at a destination. So the first report speaks to our bank balances, beginning deposits, withdrawals, and of course the ending. And this is actual cash in the bank. So that's what that speaks to. The next document is our monthly bank reconciliation. And you will see that the top of it is the balance per the book. So that's what our computer system says. The bottom it is the balance per the bank. And again, there will always be timing issues no matter what. So the idea of reconciliation is what are the adjustments that need to be made in order for these items to balance. And timing of Jefferson Health is always a good one. And then OP&F and PERS is another one because we do the withholdings in the current month, but we don't pay them until the next month. So there's always going to be a timing issue between the bank and our books because the cash has not left yet. The next document speaks to our monthly July expenses by fund. And we added the percentages to it this time so that you just kind of see where, on the month, which fund is spending the most money. It makes sense that the general fund would be spending because the lion's share of our programming lives in that fund. But you can see the dollar amounts and things of that nature. Followed by the revenue, July revenue by fund. And that gives just a little insight sometimes about timing because sometimes our expenses are leaving before the dollars are showing up. This just speaks to July, and the second half of Hamilton County payments shows up in the beginning of September. So it is not unusual for our levy funds to run in the negative for July and August because of they're waiting on monies that are coming, but they don't come until September. The next report speaks to our year-to-date fund report, and to give insight into that, it shows you the beginning balance of that fund. This is what we told Hamilton County, the cash that was in the bank at the time, and in what funds those dollars resided. And the last column, the unencumbered, that's what's left for the budget dollars of that fund for 2025. So we're currently running at about 50%, which is actually not bad. You will notice that I have made some notes regarding the negative balances that live. I have done the investigation around waste collection because Ms. Sorb, I did hear you and wanted to find out why this one was running in the negative. And we have learned that there were some audit adjustments that were made and some expenses as it relates to our street project that landed in that account. You can't put expenses in a fund and don't put the money that goes with them. And so that's why this is in a negative, but since the entries happen in 2024 and the year is closed, I have to get guidance from the auditors of how we can get those expenses out of that fund.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Could you, I think I heard you say street money was spent from it? Is that
So
what you-
so we know that the street projects are funded primarily like through OPWC and then grants, correct? Okay, so we pay the bills. Neiman sends us the bills. We pay the bills, not a problem. Then we bill whomever it is, whether it be OPWC or like with SORTA, and then we get the money in. Well, but if you put the expenses in fund where is it at? 230. If you record the expenses in fund 230, when the money comes in, the money needs to be credited to fund 230. That is not what happened. So what happened is you have expenses going out of a fund, but it did not record the revenue that was directly associated with that project because we are actually making loan payments. So again, had this been discovered in 2024, it could have been corrected with just audit entries. But since the year is closed, I have to wait and get guidance from the Ohio auditor.
You said 23?
24. These are,
24?
yeah, because as of June of 24, July of 2024, this fund was not running in a negative. It was running in a timing issue, but it wasn't running at this point we're like almost $1 million basically overexpended when literally 800,000 of it is Galworth Road. So I am working to find out how to fix that. Well, and they're going to tell me, but I have to basically get direction from them to say, this is why we're making an entry in August of 2025 for something that happened in June, July of 2024. So they have to sign off on that.
So can I interject there? So different finance managers have different ways of doing things. So it could just be the transfer of one person to the next. It could be something that we needed to deal with of how we have done things historically, like traditionally, specifically with waste. When we deposit in one count, we take out of another. I think she's still researching the whys on that. However, I want to just kind of touch on and expound what she's talking about. Not that she didn't do a superb job, because she did, but with the audit, it's just the right thing to do to, if you could framework your mind around, we can fix it, but we want to get the auditor's permission, because if we do it ahead of time, if she tries to then it looks like, why did you move that? That's sneaky business. And so it's almost like permission to say, hey, this is something that happened for us. What do we do so that doesn't register wrong? And so then they have the explanation, because doing it first and then telling them why kind of looks shady. And so we want to kind of, quote, let them know that we see this. We're not trying to do anything underhanded. And this is how we intend to fix it per your advice.
Thank you guys for being very transparent on that. That helps us understand what's going on. Any more questions about that?
No, I would just like to say I appreciate you
Yeah.
digging into that. Thank you so much.
And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on is the last column. If you look at the top, it's the unencumbered amount. So those are things that we have yet to spend, right? Because they're unencumbered, but they're anticipated things that we will spend. And if you look at the bottom of the year today, well, the balance at the bottom, the 15,138,458.13 cents.
Yes.
So if you subtract those numbers, you'll see that what Ms. Stevens Knott is saying, that we're at about half. That does register about half. That puts us at like 8.4 something, which is what is on the cash balance. And this is as of July. So if you're thinking about that in retrospect to the year, so July is the 7th month, which we're 1 month past the half point. This is where we should be. We're right at our spending. So I want to just say specifically, it's the right thing to give it to you in the month of July, but also Mayor's like, where are we at? What are we looking at? So we'll do this again probably after we get through some of the more heavy-weighted spending on this back end before we close out the year to look at the budget and everything, which is coming next month. The budget for the new year, the salary ordinance, all of those types of things. So we have plenty of time to ease into that. I'll say and interject real quick right here that we're also, I'm in negotiations with for the bargaining agreement for police, both full and part-time. If you will remember, this is their year where they're expiring, so we need to take a new contract into the 2026 year. We are committed to getting that done by the end of the year. I've talked to all parties, bargaining agreements. Technically, they like to do it within 60 days, but we have some things to dig into to right some wrongs. And when I say that, this is typically what happens when you have a bargaining agreement, especially with a city like ours. We have spaces where we've offered other tangible things to compensate for the fact that we are not able to pay at the rate of other cities. So one of the things we did was we offered more comp time. So comp time looks like you have the potential to earn 480 hours. Typically in the city of North College Hill, the city of North College Hill, we offer 480 hours. Comparatively, I haven't found a city that offers over 240. So we're offering almost double. Now, they do have to earn those hours, but that's something that we put in there to kind of create some niceties because we weren't paying as competitively. So my job is, when I go into the negotiations, to look at that historical institutional information and say, okay, here we offered this, so now we're going to pull back on some of those other niceties because we're coming up to having more competitive pay so that we're not getting drained on every level. And so that's also happening for fire. Now, remember, fire was in an MOU, and we did that specifically to hold us over one gap year. To make sure that we can look at it. It is a lot of work to do these bargaining agreements all together because we're doing part-time, full-time for both. That's 4 bargaining agreements with 4 different union reps, and they all want different things. Plus, we're trying to make sure that the city can sustain and budget. That's a hardship. I understand why this separated it, but it is very difficult to project. We want to start getting into what are our spendings going to look like 5 years ahead. We don't want to just do finances on year in this year in that year. We want to have 5-year projections, and if we need to modify those things so we can get into doing some bigger, robust projects, we can't do that if we have a bargaining agreement that we haven't agreed to because it's 3 years off from the prior one. We need to do all these together. So that MOU that we agreed to do last year was to kind of gap us so that we can be better suited to project and forecast for coming years. That's it.
Okay. So the final page just speaks to recommendations and observations, which is my way of letting you know that I'm paying attention. We continue to evaluate entries made thus far to ensure all items are in the correct funds. And we're writing SOPs around that so that this legacy information, it can remain. Just a little tidbit. One thing about fund accounting, especially in a municipality, is that they carry forward. So when errors are made, it's not something that goes away at the end of the year. In a more traditional sense, companies that are operating on a GAAP stopgap situation. At the end of the year, whatever, everything that lives in the expense column, it goes to zero and we start over. But that is not we don't have that luxury in this space of fund accounting in municipalities. So errors that have been made, they carry forward. So that's why it's important that we get them fixed so we don't carry these things forward. We're evaluating encumbrances for opportunities to release unused funds. Me and Erin Marie have come upon a whole list of purchase orders, but which are encumbered dollars that have been sitting out there for over 6 months. So we are evaluating those and getting those released. Really working with our department heads around budgeting and thresholds, just kind of helping them to understand that they have a stakehold in this budget, and it's more than just, hey, do I have enough money, but are we thinking wholly about how we're spending dollars? And then, of course, continue to explore other revenue streams and capitalize on the streams in place. I don't know if you wanted to jump to taxation. Well, let me just, because taxation is huge, so that's good. We talk about the grants all the time, and then just whatever a department, whatever you're doing, what's your role in bringing something to the table as it relates to revenue streams? What are you doing to add to the pot?
And so, Madam President, Chair. Sorry. It's all running together. What's next on your agenda?
It is year-to-date budget update, then rental fee assessments.
Okay. Do I have tax? Or did
It's
I
down there.
put tax on there?
Yeah.
It's
on
city income
5.
tax collection is number 5.
Okay. Do you mind if we move that up?
No.
Because
go ahead.
this is a good segue into
Yes.
what Ms. Stevens-Knott. So Ms. Stevens-Knott is coming perfectly to pair with the
Yes.
projection of what I foresaw the city to do. And so one of the things that we did in December when we spoke at the beginning of the year is like, we're going to do quarterly updates. Remember we talked about that? And so we've met that expectation by bringing you quarterly updates. And what that enables us to do is previously we would, at the end of the year, let all POs, we'd be like asking, well, I was only there for last year, but we would run across and ask the departments, hey, do you need this? Are you going to spend this? This PO then is still sitting out there. It's still unused, and you close all the open POs. So there's a lot of asks at the beginning of the year because you even want to plan for the potential of things happening, right? And so now that we're 9 months in, we can look at some things and say, hey, this just isn't feasible. We don't want to do this. So we can close out those POs. This is the time to start shutting those down so we have a more accurate picture of what our spending is going to look like as we close out this year. The other thing is we've putting those things in a quarterly cadence. It helps us to be able to know how we're spending so that we can do more investment vehicles for next year, which is something that we have yet to get our feet wet as a city, but we're positioning ourselves to be good financial stewards. And then the other thing that I wanted, which is why I asked about the taxation, is because I'll go right into that because it's a good segue into that. So one of our robust forms of income is taxation, income and property. So one of the things that we, by income, I mean taxes on income. So we did the subpoena program. And separate of that, I don't know, we were forthcoming with the fact that we did not have access to the previous software because it got canceled. So now that we have reinstated that software, it gives us the ability to look at the taxes that were behind us. Rita only does 3 years. So we had taxes behind us that we weren't able to collect on. So there is a box where we've actively reached out over in the clerk court, which is Diane Toll, that we are working to. So we've now created kind of a dual system. Ms. Stevens and I have come up with, like, kind of if a person comes in and these are the years that they owe back taxes, there's a down payment to kind of get them jump started, and then 18 months is kind of the timeline that we want to go to pay off of those taxes. We are taking away for those that are forthcoming and saying, hey, I really want to solve this. This is old. This is over my head. We're not trying to criminalize people, although our charter and our laws in North College Hill do say that can be a criminal offense. We want to encourage people to rectify the circumstance and get on a payment plan. So we already are instituting those things. And it can be as low as $20, $25 a month and still pay off in 18 months. We will not be breaking people's bank. We want to make it reasonable, but we do want to collect on those things because people were living here. We have the proof that they were living here and they had income that they needed to pay taxes on. So we are approaching it as gently but firmly as possible. And then with that, I know Ms. Stevens had something that she wanted to share about the administrative subpoenas.
Yeah, so I have confirmation that we have so Rita has already started sending those out. Matter of fact, we got a payment just late last week towards that. So it's effective. Like they just went out last week and someone mailed a check. It was here on Friday. Because it's encouraging. How about that? So it works. That $1 per person, it works.
And so just so you can kind of connect the dots from start point to end point, it starts with the making sure that everybody files, and that is the administrative subpoenas, and then collecting on the old stuff, and then being able to talk with our police department, which is our NRO. We now have an NRO officer in place, which we had not before. As we become more staffed, we put Zach Wiley in the NRO spot. That enables him to be able to help us. That's a police officer that is able to ticket or cite, if you will, some of these tax issues, our abatement issues for a building and code officer as they are progressing to the next level where the people are not responding or citizens are not responding to those first phases of responsibility and accountability to, what the city is asking them to comply with. And then from there, it moves to mayor's court. We've had conversations with mayor's court that now that we're moving to this is what it looks like when it gets over there. So we have some level of continuity. We do not want to see people, we don't even have a jail to put people in, and Hamilton County is not going to accept them. What we want is for people to respond. And so putting all those components back in place as gently as possible to encourage the right outcomes is kind of where we want to focus, because we do need to have sustainable income, and this is one small avenue of that. And then the last one that I wanted to kind of touch on in this category was the EMS and safety. And again, just evaluating we talked a lot about, I have talked to the police department and the EMS department about making sure that the attitude of ownership for your department, I know that we kind of look at the different departments as our children and that we want to take care of them, but as they become more matured, more developed departments and agencies, we want to make sure that they're doing a little bit of efficacy of taking care of themselves by applying for as many grants as possible. The fire department, hands down, is excellent at that. And then I know that it's a work in progress for the police department, and they lean very heavily on our budget. But right now, we're talking with them about grants and making sure that when we apply again, that we're applying for new tasers and body cams. Actually, we're applying for the body cams, and then free tasers come with it. Ooh. So just those kinds of things. And I like to call it press down, shaking together, and running over. It's just how you use your resources and using them more wisely and not being so absorbent in one space and making room for everybody to be taken care of in an efficient way and no one party hanging on and getting more than they should.
Mark one thing off my list there, body cams, tasers. All right.
think
You have to tell me what's on your
rental fee.
agenda.
I think we're on rental fee and grass.
Yes.
Okay,
Rental
and then
fee.
in your packet, you have two documents. One is the, resolution to certify assessments to the county auditor for placement on the tax duplicate, and it says the, nuisance related to tall grass and trash removal. And so that's what we have on the list here. And I look back historically, it's about this deep. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's about this. What I can say is that with Aaron, making sure that he cites regularly, I feel like people are responding more to cutting their grass. We've had a lot of, picking up trash. And so if you look, it says tall grass and trash. What that means, like, we'll get a call from a resident and they'll say, this property has a mattress in their front yard. It's typically when they put it out for Rumpke, but they refuse to wrap it. Rumpke won't pick it up, so it becomes our issue if we don't want a blighted community. And so we have been very, very lenient at charging people, but our public works department has to go out and pick those things up. And then sometimes we're even encountering fees if they don't fit in our trash cans to get rid of them. So we're going to start charging for that. And this is already enforced in this document and prior documents. So when we have to go pick up couches and those big old TVs that used to sit on the floor. So those are the types of things that fall underneath that category. And then I'll move on to the rental registration. And so there's a couple things that I want to address with the rental registration. So this is a initial draft. We allow people we collect payments all year long for these. They just go out at the beginning of the year. They did go out later this year because we were waiting on Aaron to get here to be able to send them out. It's typical that we are looking at this. We've almost always looked at it in September. And so by the time that this is to council floor to vote on, there will probably be a lot less names as we still have people paying to, minimize this list. But I did want to put it on the agenda as is and what we have today so that we can start talking about it and moving it forward to vote on. This is what I would ask council to consider as it relates to rental registration. So there's a couple of things that we need to do. We should be attaching with the rental registration that for every resident that moves into the property, that they are required, the landlord, to tell us who that person is. That helps us in our taxation when somebody moves in and somebody moves out. The rental registration, that's not an additional fee to them, but it's an accountability for information. So I'd like to see that plugged into the more modified piece of legislation that we'll have for 2026 around rental agreements, because we need to keep track of who's in the city and who's not. We cannot count on just the welcome baskets. That's a really good avenue to let people know what they're responsible for, but the landlords in the school is also a really good database for us to leverage to know who's in our city so that we can, help people be accountable for the taxes that they're due. It'll be gentle. It'll be, hey, this is what you need to do, but also we need more ways to track who's here. So that's something that I would like to see attached. I've been hearing things like when contractors are here, like HVAC, that we need to regulate that. We have a list of people that can come in, and it's not uncommon. So many cities, that is the trend, where they have to register to do business here. It's only like a $50 fee per year. But it is something that many building and code departments are doing in order to, one, know who's in our community. It's kind of like the no solicitation.
Yes.
So that we can make sure that we know which businesses are here and that they're doing good work and those kinds of things. I'd like to see that in
Can I
place
interject
as
right
well. Yeah, please do.
As it relates to that, that's also one of Rita's recommendations as it relates to businesses, that we attach the registration. We basically attach a taxation registration connected to building permits. So it's not just getting a building permit to do the job, but it's also you letting us know that you're a business doing business in our community. And then it gives Rita the information that they need so that the business owner because they can choose where they tax. The net profit tax on a business, but it requires them to make a decision and be a little bit more forthcoming with that information. So, yeah, this is something we're really looking at doing.
Yes, and the reason why that's important is because that's actually in protection of the person buying those said services. We want to make sure that these are reputable people that are doing things in the homes that are following the codes. It's not just about, so you want to keep the fees low enough to make people be accountable for it and hold them accountable to the work, but also still feel comfortable doing business within North College Hill and not to put an extra burden on who does work for our residents. I did not know that Rita recommended that. It's just following the trends of building and code, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll see those pieces of legislation. It's just food for thought because we're right here at the vein of those topics. And so then with that, if you tell me what's on there next, if it's me, I'll go.
Hey, Madam Chairperson?
Yes, Mr. Davis.
Okay. Just a question, because I've been asked this before and I've been asked this before and didn't have a great answer. Would you be able to clarify for the people what is the purpose of the rental registration fee?
To keep track of our rental properties in our community, and so that we're at 47.6% rentals in our community.
Right.
And we want to try to encourage more home ownership in our community than we do renters.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms.
I'd also like to say that it also helps with, we need to know who the landlords are. We need to hold them accountable to having sustainable living. If we don't have any of that information, when we have blighted properties and people are paying their rent, we don't even know who to hold accountable. I mean, I know that there's Hamilton County Auditor's website where you can look up property owners. However, some of those are hidden by LLCs, and we don't allow just an LLC on that paperwork. We want to know who is a tangible person that we can speak to, so that, we've, in our building and code officer has gone into people's whose steps were broken in the inside of their homes, and they were trying to figure out how to deal with that circumstance, and their landlord lived in California, and it's attached to an LLC, and we were able to look up our rental registration. It just holds them accountable. It helps us to help our residents be steadfast in making sure that their properties are up to code, and that when they're making changes, like changing out electrical things or updating plumbing, that they're also coming through us to do the permits. It is just governing city landlords and tenants. It's a good way to govern that.
Okay. Thank you. I got more questions on that, but that's something that we can talk about in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Orr.
I have a question. Do we know, I'm sure you do,
I might not, no.
do you know where, what line item this revenue goes to? Does it just go in the general fund?
The rental?
Yes.
It does go in the general fund, but it lands around it's just general fund. It's a revenue stream.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it lands in Fund 101. So I did know. Yay.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
And then I guess we're on 1500. So where we left off with the building is we talked about, I did confirm with Hamilton County that we cannot split the parcels up. That's where we left off in the last meeting. You are free to call down and get that public information if you're doubting the information that I'm bringing back to you on that. I was asked to call and just to confirm that if we could split the parcels up, we cannot. So with that being said, the piece of legislation that's out there, we keep talking about there's no debate. Yeah, I will tell you, I just want to throw this out there. So primarily, the problems that we're having out of that building are because of the roof. If we fix the entire roof and then fix the issues that came as a result of the roof, we will have a stealthy building. And so our contractor that we have, working with on this contract, I was over there dealing with the College Station, dealing with some other permit stuff for them, and he's like, hey, what happened with the quote? And I said, we're still going back and forth with our council group. He said, yeah, I watched a couple meetings. He was like, do they not think I can put a roof on? They come over here and see this roof. That's a good roof. And so, I mean, I don't know. Yes, it's a stealthy, sturdy building. And so the competency of the contractor is there, not just based on that project. I invite you all to just research and see what it is that the projects that are behind that name. One of the things that is pretty robust in my mind about that particular contractor is that this is a school and it was built in the 50s and 60s. And so if you look, one of the things that is in the portfolio of that construction company is that they redid a lot of the CPS schools. And those are old buildings, they are schools, and they were transformed into things and brought up to code. This is not a new project for them. This is actually such a small project for them. It's actually like, so I learned in speaking to the owner that they put the engineer on our project that they usually only put on projects that are $5 million or more. And I said, why'd you do that? He's like, because we want to take good care of you guys. And so I say that to say they are literally rolling out the red carpet for us, and we are, kind of a bit stagnant on that. And if you are contemplative of what can we do, how we can use the ARPA funds, I just want to know, what questions do you have to move forward? We need to do something. The building is not getting better. We're losing relationships and people are getting frustrated with us. I showed you guys last time the breakdown of cost. If we were to apply all grants, we are either looking at $205,000 or $105,000. That is such a small amount to rectify. So if you think about putting, let's say at best, we put $205,000 into the building, and then we turned around and we sold it. We are going to make that building is 32,000 square feet. We are going to make hand over fist more than $205,000. And if you are, we're at risk of now having to give the money back.
Not only that, we're at risk having to give the money back. We're at risk having to pay the insurance for a abandoned building on it. And we're at risk at displacing public works. If that building goes away, where does our public works department go? Where does our city go? We cannot stay here. It is ridiculous. We've given every bit of information. We've asked, what questions do you have? The questions you've submitted, we've gave thorough presentations and answered them. I'm not sure what this council group can do. I see you, Ms. Mayor Nichols, go ahead. I see you wanna.
I guess my concern are some of the same that you just mentioned. I think when you look at it, you have over $500,000 that is given to us for a project.
I think it's 587.
That's allotted for
486.
486. Okay, I thought we had the extra 100.
Still over $500,000 for a project. And to not utilize those funds for said project, I won't say what it is, it just doesn't make us look very good, you know. I'll stay there with it, because you, like you said, you have a building that's sitting there, it's not getting any better for whatever reasons that it was closed down. I mean, we're not the only ones that are displaced, right? So we had other organizations that was utilizing the building. They're searching for homes as well. If we want to be a good steward over things, we need to take that money that's allotted to us and do what we need to do. Now, if we're not going to use it for that, then what are we going to use it for? I understand there's already a PO that's out there, and we've already allotted those funds for that particular project. And it just doesn't look good to, you know, for us as a city and even as a council to take this long to make a decision on something like that. I hear, oh, we didn't get enough information. Well, we've asked, what exactly else do you need? What else would you like to see? I know there's another piece of legislation, but it doesn't change the fact. She looked into, you can't tear the building down, you can't separate the parcels. You have a whole public works department, and this is just a repeat of what other people have said. I think I'm just trying to understand what it is. What do you want to see? So if you give that money back as a city, then we would have to come out of our pocket to pay for the insurance. It, in most cases, and a lot, we've looked at it over multiple years, it can cost just as much to tear down a building, if not more.
And the other thing about, I'm sorry.
Because in
Madam-
this particular case, you have to remove the asbestos,
Abate the asbestos.
and then you have to tear the building down. I think it last cost when a previous administrator was here and we talked about it, and I had them look into it. It was over $1 million to tear it down.
I think it's
And-
like 1.3.
It was over $1 million to tear the building down.
Madam Chair,
Madam
Yes,
Chair.
Ms. Dukesting. Ms. Dukesting was first.
I'm sorry. I have not gotten a new quote to quote the tear down of the building. The quote that I was, or the number that I'm giving you, the 1.2, that was actually Ms. Iki who got that information to tear the building down. That was
year was
a
that?
number of years ago. That was probably at the
2003.
probably around, if I remember correctly, somewhere late spring, early summer of 2023. I imagine that cost is significantly higher now.
That would have been
And-
for the whole building though, right?
I'm sorry?
That would have been for the whole building though?
Yes, but we can't separate the
Can't tear down.
parcels.
I understand, I'm just trying to get a point of reference.
Yes.
I believe it was around that amount too when Ms. Long was here.
And then the other thing that I wanted to kind of add, and that is we would not be able to use the ARPA funds to tear it down to remove the asbestos. So then we would be on the hook from removing the asbestos from the building on our own, because you cannot use ARPA funds for a building that's not going to sustain. That those funds are to sustain the city. And so then I want to just make a small correction to something that Mayor said. You know, we did put the PO out there and we put it across multiple projects so that we wouldn't be closed in. I did not want council to feel closed in. I know it probably feels that way, but I personally, at the helm of the decision, did not want you to feel closed in. So we could do the splash pad, but then you're going to pay for what you want and beg for what you need. You need to, we as a city have to take care of our priorities. That's the equivalent of putting a swimming pool in your backyard when you need a roof
Ms.
on your
Dixon,
house.
Didn't the cost of the splash pad go up?
It did. But we could still put the resources towards the splash pad and then still have to pay the difference of the splash pad. I mean, that's an option. It's not a good steward of the city's resources, but it is an option.
And personally, I don't think it's wise for us to pay thousands of dollars per month for insurance for an abandoned building.
It isn't. And then we'd be paying a mortgage on a tear down. So I guess that's why I threw out there, even if you don't feel comfortable about keeping the building and you want other things to happen to it, if we just did this and sold it, we still, that at least opens up our options to do other things with it. If somebody else wants to tear it down, let it be their burden. But we need to do something. And as it stands, I did confirm that if it's a tie vote, that we can just put it back on council floor. Ms. Zorb's last piece of legislation, I felt like I was as fair in looking at it. I put both pieces of legislation before you last time, and we went through and we got cut off because the meeting time was to end, where we were ending. However, we looked at them side by side. You all took those documents home. You were able to look at them from that last meeting until now. One of the major differences of the two pieces of legislation, and she said that it was not a finished document, was that that east wing was not included. And that is, I mean, you've had inspectors come out and tell you that we cannot separate it. Hamilton County is confirming that. If you all felt that you needed to call down to Hamilton County between the last meeting and this meeting, because what I don't know how to navigate is that you ask me to do something, I give you the information, and it's as though you don't trust the information I give you. I'm okay with you not trusting me. So then if that's the case, then you have to do the homework in between time to call yourselves and to double check that what I'm saying, if you're asking me to prove trust, that I'm okay with that. But that means if you're saying, Ms. Duxine, we want you to do that, or Arias, we want you to do that, and then I do it, then you should also do it as well in between time so that we're not losing time. And I think that that is a fair ask, because we started this journey so long ago on this building, and the building is not doing anything but getting worse. And we are at risk of losing the money.
And we're about to go in the winter.
And we are about to go in the winter where the work, I mean,
Yeah.
we had a very rainy spring. We need to dry that building out.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Lord, go ahead.
So I keep hearing, and it's been said repeatedly, that all the questions have been answered. All the questions that have been asked have been answered. And that's just not the case. And it's.
We asked at the last
May
meeting
I
where,
please-
what questions you
May I please
had.
finish? May I please finish?
Go ahead with your speech.
Thank you. I have asked repeatedly, what are the, let's say we put $7 million into that building. What are the next steps? What are the next plans? I never have heard
And I
what
think-
any, I've never heard what any plans are. If we put a roof on the other half, the other half hasn't been used for probably 7 to 10 years. So what is the plan? What
I think
are we
that-
going to do with the other half?
With all due
Mayor
respect,
Joe,
we
I would
said
like
we
to-
would let that be up to the citizens. We
I would-
said we needed to
I
get
would
to
like
step
to
But
one.
along with
But
that,
let me finish. I
along
allowed
with
you to
that
finish.
plan would
I
also
let you
tell
finish.
us how
Please allow me to run the
much money we
meeting
would need
so
to
that we're
use.
not talking over each other. You asked a question. We asked at the last meeting, what other questions did you need? You were sat there, you were silent. You did not speak up then. We asked you, we told you guys we needed to get through step one of bringing the building up to code. We are slumlords at this point.
Madam
Their
Chair.
building is sitting vacant. Just a minute, let me make a point. We said, once we got to step one of bringing the building up to code, we would allow the citizens to decide, hey, this is what we could use the building for. This is the space we have. These are the programs we can bring in. But you can't go to step two when you can't even agree on completing step one.
I disagree with
our police department and fire department buildings are not up to. We need to start planning strategically and thinking about moving towards the future. Your plan, tear it down. You have not a full thought out plan. We've asked repeatedly, if we tear it down, what do you do with public works? Where does our city administration go? We cannot continue to stay here. You need to make a clear, thought out plan so we can execute. We said we can get to
Hang
step
on, so
one.
you're saying I have to make a clear plan?
No, I'm
but
saying
not
we as
presented
a
with clear
council,
plan.
we as a council, we as a city. I didn't say you directly, we are a whole.
Insinuated that.
We need to come up with a clear plan. We can't just do the plan for the moment. We have to think about, okay, if we do this, what steps do need to be taken for the future.
You're
Tear
saying
it down.
exactly what I'm saying.
Madam
I
Chair.
want
But we have to
plan.
do step one before you can move to two. You can't even agree to do step one.
Madam
We
Chair.
can't even agree 4 to 3 to do step one before you even go to two.
You're right, because I don't know how much money step 2 and step 3 and step 4 is gonna cost.
We
Madam
gotta get to
Chair.
step one and use the grant money that we have. I'm sorry, Ms. Dukestein. Let me take a beat.
Let's
Yes,
breathe. We're
please.
okay.
Madam Chair, so Ms. Zorb, I'm going to answer the question specifically to you because you put it out there. So one of the things that I personally count, and I'm not attributing an intention to this, but I did actually answer that question, and this is the way that I answered it. It may not have satisfied or satiated the answer that you wanted, but it was an answer. It is council's responsibility to handle the facilities. And so when you asked that question, I said, as far as administration goes, it is a position that we want to leave room for you all to make your own decision about it. If I lay out a roadmap of what it could be or what it should be, then I am taking a responsibility that is not within my wheelhouse of my job title and taking that on. I could give you a lot of suggestions. In some of the emails that were sent to me, I was asked, what do I foresee, I personally foresee in the building? I have some of my own ideas, but I would not share that at this time outside of you all coming up with a plan because the stewardship is in your hands. And so what I said to you when you asked that question is, we are trying to abate the immediate threat with the building and get it back safe. And that is why it is on that piece of legislation that it is an emergency, because it is. Not only are we running out of time to spend the money towards that, we are running out of time to be able to properly abate it and do something useful with it. Secondly, the thing that I suggested to you all is that if you all decided we don't want this property and we want to do something, at least we have repaired it to a point where we could be able to sell it with the value. It is a building that is paid for. We don't owe ourselves taxes. So what I am saying about that is, even if we will put the $205,000 in it, which is the most that we would be able to pay, there is another grant out there in the amount of $100,000 that we could potentially use to that. I did reach out, and we're not clear just yet if that portion of the money could be used. So the minimal is at $105,000. And so that is a very small investment to get that building. Actually, that is less money than if we had fixed the roof, like back when you were on council and you guys decided
Madam Chair.
to fix half the roof. I think the quote, based on what I read in that document, and you have the document from 2012, it was $300,000 then. So if we put 205 into it at the most, we're spending less now than we would have ages ago because of the unique time frame where we have extra dollars. And so we could at best just sell it. We don't have to have a plan to fix the building to a point where we can still use it. That we have an immediate situation that we need to respond to. If your house is leaking in the inside, you don't wait until you know if you're going to sell it or not. You fix it immediately and then figure the rest out. Sometimes circumstances present themselves before you have an opportunity to figure the rest out. This leaves space for you all to have the town hall that everyone has been saying has not been had, to bring the citizens in, to be able to detail what that next step looks like.
I think we're running over on this building.
Madam Chair.
We're not going to,
Madam Chair.
hold on. It is 8:28. We have 2 minutes.
This happens all the time.
I mean, we always run over in
Can I
this
say
meeting.
something?
Let Ms.
Then Ms. Gaston first, and then Mr. Davis, and then Ms. Shiva. Ms. Orb, I didn't hear you call out. Did you call out?
I did not. I was pointing out that there were.
Ms. Gastons, go ahead.
Can we please put together a piece of legislation that moves us forward?
We did.
Twice.
We're at the point in which, and I'm sorry, I'll just say this and I'll let you finish. I apologize. The piece of legislation that moves us forward is where we were is we asked last time if we could amend the agenda to put it on there, and the vote was no. So that we would need we brought it back to. I recommended that we bring it back to this committee to talk about what it is that is hindering you all from, because you didn't even allow it to be on the agenda, which is fine. So we can move that same piece of legislation on the agenda, and all it does is gets us to the point of white boxing the building so that it's usable, and then you all can decide what you want to do from there.
So if council is comfortable.
Let
we
her
can do-
finish, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought-
So there were things in this new piece of legislation that I feel was really good, that these two council people worked on. Can we work on a new piece with all the different pieces and the plans where it makes sense to everyone?
So, just in lieu of questioning, what was broken about the piece of legislation that was there? Because at that point, it itemized what we needed to do to get the building back safe.
I don't want to use the word broken because that's negative. What I want to say is maybe tweak, but like having a not to exceed, a timeline, all that stuff on it so that
It does have a not to exceed. It has not to exceed based on the amount of the quote that was given.
Okay. But at this point, I think we just need to move forward with a new doc so that we can just send it to council floor, vote on it, and move on.
Excuse me. So which document are we referring to? The one I did the first time, the one you did the second time, or the one they did the third time?
I never did one, so
I thought you redid it when it changed the word
Did
to
not.
stabilization.
that was a different piece of legislation. That
Okay.
was a half step.
The
Okay.
document that was given to us was the one that was given to us by our attorney.
Okay.
And I know I'm on a different side of it, but I can't read it and see anything that looks like it gives us any wiggle room to do anything that you don't want to do. That's why I'm sincerely here asking, what are the areas or white spaces on that document that prohibit you all from seeing it as a good piece of legislation? Because my fear in moving away from that document is we have council members, Ms. Zorb and Mr. Davis, working on a legal document when that has been, the contract has been read, the AIA is there, all the stipulations are in there. And moving away from that to me does present loopholes. Like, for example, Ms. Zorb, when we were talking about it, I don't think it's she said it's a fluid piece of legislation, the one that she and Mr. Davis worked on, but it excluded the east wing. So if we're saying we're going to just stabilize the building, the contract, which is the AIA contract that is attached to it as Exhibit A, that is all that can be done. All the things that are in Exhibit A, read it, look at it, make sure that there is nothing in there, because what I feel a sense of is distrust, which is fair and fine. I don't know if I think it's fair, but it's fine. If you read it and you feel like this allows you to do this, speak to that so that can be changed. Because no one's trying to do anything without your governing.
And I think that was a good segue into what I'm trying to explain. So the not to exceed, so when I read it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there were spots where it said, and I don't have it, I was looking for it, I apologize. But if they work on the roofing or whatever, and they need more, I don't know, installation, then that can be done later. Well, that sounds like that's gonna be another bill if we need to fix something that they're not expecting to fix. So where is the hard stop? So like if we start drilling on walls and we find more mold that we didn't anticipate, so on and so forth, like what do we do at that point? And I know that we had stated months ago that if we start this project and we see that we're in over our heads, we can always stop. But what is that hard stop?
So just so you understand the legislation and the parameters, and this is where I'm not trying to insult what you do or do not know, but I know you're a rather new council member. So anything that is beyond that price point, I would have to come back to you for. I cannot just spend, we don't even have anything else budgeted for that. I mean, if you want to put in there, in addition to any one penny over this set amount, then I'll come back to you for it. I mean, I will commit to that without it being in there, but if you want to liquefy it and make it legal, I'm okay with that.
And I think he's made it pretty clear that the dollar amount is the dollar amount. The problem is, the longer we wait, he's going to have to reassess what he's quoting us because of, I hate to say the tariff word, because things are going up. So from the last conversation I had, we were still good with what was quoted to us.
And
But we need to get this project moving
in order
to maintain those.
numbers.
Right.
And so one of the things that when I was speaking to the main engineer on the project, she was saying that, you know, the owner of the construction company is a philanthropist. And so there are multiple different businesses there. They just acquired a lumber company. And so with that, there was lots of lumber. We will need some lumber replaced. So that lumber was there. It's good. It is, like, so to speak, already purchased without tariffs. One of the things that we know are going to be heavily have tariffs is lumber, because we get that from Canada. And so with that being said, we can't control those kinds of increases because that's our fault. Usually quotes actually only last 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
This organization has held this quote for a very long time for us.
And Madam Chair, if I could just make one more point.
I
and
think
then that's
Mr.
it.
Davis was first, and then you'll close out with you.
I can yield because my question was regarding something that was spoken on earlier.
Okay, go
This
ahead.
is just, I wouldn't suggest just the east versus the west, only because that puts us in the same predicament, in my opinion, of where we are now with one half. If you fix it, because it's been established, according to Ms. Dukes Dean, like she said, feel free to research it as well yourselves. Since we can't break the parcels, it's still a parcel, one parcel, so it's still, you're fixing one half of the building, leaving the other side. So just my opinion, I would not east versus west. If it's the availability to do the entire project, roof or whatever abatement, I would ask the council would consider, when that piece of legislation is written, that you consider not doing east-west, just the entire project.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Gaston.
just to be clear, so number one, we know that we cannot separate the parcels, period. So we got to do the whole building. It's a blessing that RWB is able to do it for a set amount of dollars, okay? My question is, we have until the end of 2026 to make sure that this money is spent, correct?
No, that's not exactly true. We
Okay.
have to have a project started. We were supposed to have it started already. So like if the project persists through 2026, then we can still spend the money, but our date to spend is much sooner than that. We have been given grace.
Okay.
In the same way that we have the CBDJ dollars, the $55,000, we had a circumstance where the employee that was assigned to our account was no longer with them and there was no contact with them. So because of that, they extended that. So we can also use that $55,000 towards that. So a lot of places we are running out of grace. And so that, and I want to beat a dead horse, but I don't. It's like that should let you guys know that we are outside of a typical time frame to make a decision. So in order to progress us forward, if I could suggest this, would you guys be comfortable if I asked Bill to put another additional line in there that says any penny over what is there that I come back to you for?
And a deadline.
And a deadline?
I think the deadline was in the contract too as well.
It is in the contract.
And what's the deadline?
The deadline to complete was?
Yep.
Oh, no. I don't know if the
Contract, but
deadline
it
was to
in the,
complete.
Legislation, I believe it says 12/20/2026.
Yeah, actually it was. It was 12, it was a 12/31/2026.
What's the deadline?
So that puts us at December of next year.
Yes, to complete.
But projectively, if everything goes well, the deadline would be 3 to 4 months. And so, Ms. Zorb, I hear you say deadline. And so and the only reason I'm bringing this up, let's just be transparent. We're here. If you're concerned because that building sat over there for a while and there was no movement, that was not complete.
That's not my concern. My
Okay.
concern is the deadline on the money.
Oh, okay, fair. Because I was going to say there were outliers that were out of their control. So if the deadline is for the money so that we can exhaust the resources towards that, I'm fine with making sure that. So would you all be more comfortable if I had the piece of legislation, the clause in there to add that any penny spent over that estimated amount that I come back to you?
Yes.
Which piece of legislation are you using?
I'm talking about the piece of legislation that we got from Bill.
Okay.
And you guys can look at it. I can send it out again so you have it fresh. You can look at it. And then if you have any questions or concerns between now and our next council meeting, please do respond. Other than that,
Madam Chair, I have one last question for my brain.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, so we move forward, we get it to a white box slate, state, whatever. Then we do the ad hoc committee and we determine we're gonna do ABC with it. Where does that money come from?
that's what you
At
got to
that point.
decide.
Yeah. And then we can look for different grants and we
But
can.
you would have, even if you tore it down, you would have been coming out more money. Even if you tear down and rebuild, you'd be coming out more money.
And we'll
This
be
is the
saving
path.
money
This
on
is
the
literally the path of least resistance. Even if we left it there, gave the money back, and only decided to pay insurance on it, we'd be coming out more money.
Yeah.
So it's the same, like even with this building, you know, council approved us coming in here, taking the building, and they relinquished the activities, what goes on in this building to administration. So it would probably most likely be the same, you know. So in our position, we talk to people and we say, hey, if this happens down at the other building, would you be willing? You know, and then we look to see, can we afford to pay somebody to come this time, or what have you? And then, like in any other situation, we come back to council and say, hey, this is what we've discussed with such and so, and they're willing. Are you willing? You know, even if they switch their hours and, you know, just because if you did open up that building down there in the same manner that you did this one, well, first of all, staff will have to go back. Secondly, in the past, years ago, the gym area, stage area, we would rent that out to people. And it's just a matter of what council wants to do. If that's something that they want to entertain, we do need recreation for our community.
Yeah.
That would be a huge
A city square.
asset.
And
Can I jump in? So as a citizen, as well as an employee, I think it's important to recognize the development that's running up Hamilton Avenue. So whatever may or may not have remained vacant for whatever ridiculous amount of time prior, the reality is that our makeup of our city is changing. The needs and the desires of our city are changing. And so to believe that it was empty for 20 years, we never used it, and it will remain such, I think is shallow thinking. There are people are literally businesses and organizations are cramming, looking for meeting spaces, looking for rental spaces because they are very hard to come by in this city. And having one that's closer to the center of the city, it's definitely another potential revenue stream. So I hope that we don't continue thinking small about what can be done with 32,000 feet. I'm in a church with 20,000 square feet, and literally our worship center is the smallest space because we rent out the rest of the building to everybody. My second thing, as an employee, I have not heard this council or our constituents say anything about the employees that work in this building. I have not heard anybody care about the fact that we have to figure out places to file things, figure out how to manage our workspaces, figure out how to get quality lighting, figure out how I can have a meeting and the seniors are playing volleyball in their space. I understand that you all come in here for figure out a private space for human resources, because that's where they should be, in a private space. I understand that you all don't have to be here 8-9 hours a day, but one thing I do push back against, because I heard one of the residents say, "Oh no, we're working out fine here." No, we are not. It's not fair. It's not fair to the employees in here that we are sharing space with boxes of helmets that we're giving out to our children. It's not fair that we have to figure out when we have a meeting and when we don't have a meeting. Can I have a private meeting, or do I have to wait? And I love our seniors. I want to play bingo most days anyway. But at the end of the day, we are the hands and feet of the city. Do we not deserve a space that looks like the hands and feet of the city?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
Madam Chair, one of the things that was addressed at the forum was that council needed to face the community, and in our old building, we were able to do that. The reason this building this room design is like it is because it makes it easy for ICRC based on the placement of the outlets. And then we, as the employees, are breaking down this building day in and day out. We are out here helping Miss Colleen is breaking down this building.
Citizen.
I'm breaking down this building. Ben's breaking down this building. She was moved tables. And sometimes after events, it is us. We are taking the time out together to do it. I know that doesn't look big to you all, but it is definitely backbreaking work when we're doing things. Right now, you all, council group, you're wanting your room back, your council room back, so you want to put your files back in there, and we have to get our files out. We have 15 file cabinets in there, and we have no idea where they're gonna go. And I know Tom, our IT person, he was like, it is really helpful. Like, we had him in a hallway, and we finally moved him over to the quote nurses station. And he's like, this is really nice to be able to help individuals when they come in with different computer issues to sit down and actually work on their computer. But then we don't have a space for HR. I mean, I don't think we've been as vocal. The other thing that I'd like to bring to the table is the recreation for the seniors. I'm telling you, I cannot wait to share how the seniors are taking off and the events that are coming for the back half of this year in 2026. Things that are just senior engagement and things that are actually going to help the city with a source of income. But some of those things have been delayed because of the space and constantly having to break this down and not wanting to put too much burden on one person or another, and making sure that logistically we can handle the different changes as this room takes on many facets. So it's just another reason. I'm not saying that the building rehab has to be our final stop, but it at least should be our next stop, considering that we only moved out of there based on an emergency, not because we intended to come here and live. And Miss Colleen will tell you all the time, these people sit in this building like it belongs to them. This is a senior building by the way of the title. She says it all the time. And it's true. This is, that title out there says senior building. This is North College Hill Senior Center.
Madam Chair, I have one more thing. I promise.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Well, number one, I can only speak for myself. And I'm going to say this, and I really hope I don't get any eye rolls, but I just want to make sure that we're doing things right. We're all comfortable. I am not the only one that felt a little uncomfortable with it. And being able to talk it through, not at the end of a committee meeting where we only have 30 minutes to make sure that we're doing things right, is really important to me, because it's for all the citizens. It's all of our tax dollars. It's yours. It's Ms. Chichester's. It's all of ours. So I just want to make sure that everything that we need to have in place for things to run smoothly is in place. So with that being said, let's get a new piece of legislation, and I have one request.
A new piece? Are you?
Edit it.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Can we please make sure that we know that the grant that you're referring to, we can use it?
The
And-
$100,000
yes,
one?
if you can just send it to
So
me as
does
an
that
email.
change the outcome?
No, it's just good to know. that-
Okay, I will definitely follow up on that.
Mhm.
I was actually delaying.
Hang on. So it does kind of, to an extent, influence my decision, because I need to know where that money's coming from. So
So we
because we would
have-
have to come up with 250,000, 205,000, whatever the number is. So where would that be coming from?
So there was a,
General.
I think you'll remember this well, Ms. Zorb. We have the, there was like $150,000 put in the budget. Ms. Anderson put that there, and everybody kept saying, what is that for? What is that for? And I mean, we can put that there. I mean, we haven't used that line item. Council permitted it, and so just in case the thought process goes, well, you guys were planning for that. That's not true, because nobody knew it was going to dwindle down to this much. That has been happenstance based on grants that we got. That is an additional amount of money. And so I just want to speak to something really small that you said. I agree. And so in this process, this has been difficult. It has been difficult because there have been some accusations that were completely unfair of administration. And I say out there publicly, I'm a citizen too. My tax dollars are invested here. I pay taxes here too. And so, and I think that that is the constituency amongst this table here as well. I think Ms. Knott coming in midway through this, also being a citizen, also looking at our finances, giving a fresh perspective. I didn't know Ms. Knott before now, even though she lived here. So I think that I don't have the ability to just get in her brain and make her feel the same way I feel. But I think that in this process, as much as you have asked, there is only one question I can think of that I did not answer. And I will draw it to it. Mary Jo asked me to show her where it says in the state of Ohio that they are number 3 with the abatement. And I did not respond because the award was given 4 years back, and it was given to minority business. So that's that. But it still is an award to say that they are number 3 of the minority businesses. If that frustrates you all, I don't know what else to say. But there's been accusations that I know them and all kind of things, and I hear that stuff too. I'm on North College Hill Talk as well. Those things are not fair because they're not true.
At all.
And so I come in here trying to make sure that I present and give you facts. I think it even started out at the beginning of this year when the PO was discovered. There was records requests asking for invoices as though I had spent the money, which I did not.
I think this goes back farther back when we were at the old building, a different administration, right? I watched this in real time as a citizen, and I feel like I am watching the same rerun with different actors.
Well, ain't nobody acting, but I feel
Well-
what you're saying.
You get it, but it's the same script, same thing.
And I just want to say, none of us made the deal to enter into getting this building for free. We're just trying to solve a problem that was passed on to us, me included. And you may not agree on the journey, but at this point, we do have an emergent circumstance on our hands. So with that being said, I will make the modifications through Mr. Dieters to put the appropriate legal language in there to say the things that you say. I will follow up to see if we can use the $100,000 monies towards this amount. And then Ms. Stevens-Knott will look through, Ms. Stevens-Knott and I will look through the budget to find where we're either going to pull the 205,000 or the 105,000. What I will say to you is that this is when the we can, if you don't want to take it out of the carryover, we're actually in standing to get a loan. I don't think it's smart, but I think we have the resources to get it done. This is a very minuscule amount in comparison to our starting point.
All right.
And thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to go.
Yes, thank you.
It is 8:55. We'll table new and.
I have one piece of old business that's very pertinent to this conversation. At one point, we talked about people that did not, it was a whole 1099 debacle,
Yes.
and that there's a looming $100,000 out there. So I didn't know if you had any update to that at all.
So I don't know where the bill is going to end up somewhere around.
We haven't got to an amount with the bill where we are within the process of trying to,
No, we got the bill.
okay.
We can debate it, but currently we're sitting at a fine, basically an assessment from the Internal Revenue Service is going to sit at about $40,000. We can abate a little bit of it, but it requires some more vendors to do some more work that they haven't been willing to do. At the end of the day, what has to happen is that of the 21 vendors, we sent them what's called an 1120. We sent them a 4669 stating, according to our records, we paid you this amount. We need for you to tell us where on your tax returns you claimed the amount that we paid you. And they have to return the form, they have to fill it out properly, and and the Internal Revenue Service has to be able to track it. So we did get a lot back, but we didn't get all of it back. So of the balance, there is basically 24% is the backup withholdings, which is something you possibly have seen when you filled out a W-9. That is what backup withholdings is. I do have a closing meeting with her on Wednesday, and she did let me know that if we get more information in, i.e. I have two big vendors, if I can get them to return the information properly, we could easily save about $20,000 on that. And then, but that's where we've gotten it down to. So it did start at around 100,000, but we've gotten it down to about 40,000.
And so, I want to interject, because I think that when I said no bill to Ms. Stevens-Knott. I did know that we had gotten the bill. That wasn't me saying we had not gotten the bill. That was me saying we haven't finalized where we stand on the bill. And the reason that I hesitate is because we have been working. If we started at 100,000, she brought it to me and I said, let me see the list of vendors. She literally brought it to me and said, let's pay it. I said, no, let me see the list of vendors that we didn't send a 1099 to. One of them was XPEX. He's still sitting in our building right now. Send them their 1099 and tell them to pay their taxes, so that takes that off our head. We're not going to continue to do business with vendors that we are in right now. And so that's how that number has shrunk. Mm-hmm. And when I bring things up, when we talk about things like that, I just want to make it clear. This is one of those cases where we are cleaning up a mess that neither she nor I created. And so if we're going to put those things out there, you need to, I will change my language. I would appreciate if you all consider that this happened in 2022. So we could put a name with the head on that, right? You cannot send 1099s out in 2022. You have to let the year close. Have to. So whoever was in 2022 is not responsible for it. It's the person that was in 2023. Because those are required to go out by January 31st.
Every year.
And if we miss the 31st, you literally have until April 15th as a grace period. So that is where it got missed. I'm not going to call anybody's names here because that's not fair. But I get frustrated when we're doing the work to keep
My
this.
question was not an accusation.
I know that, but I'm putting.
I appreciate that it was found and that we're dealing with it.
No, I understand that, but just based on the level of accusation that has persisted, that you cannot say that that hasn't been present. And people have questioned the capacity or the capability of the individuals in said leadership. And these are the things we're doing to fix things before us. Ms. Stevens, this error was found and told to us by the IRS. The number was calculated by the IRS. She did what she needed to do to figure out how many 1099 forms that we have by going through our archives. Then when she compiled that list, then she brought an amount to me and we said, okay, we're not going to pay this because we're going to deal with the contractors that we still deal with, at least get those out of the way. So I guess if I'm saying if we're going to bring it up, we have to bring it up with all resolve, because in my opinion, what happens is if I don't do that, then people start nitpicking and putting blame where it doesn't belong. It's very difficult to come in here and work hard at solutions to create the best financial outcomes for the city and then take blame in other spaces. And I just am trying to preempt some of those things that have happened in the past. I'm not blaming. I'm just saying this is an opportunity for us to share all of the pieces so you can put it together factually and not place it differently than just because those are the thoughts. So we're going to put responsibility on shoulders of individuals, put the responsibility out there that we're fixing a problem that we did not create.
And the minutes reflected that.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
She said the
reflected.
minutes reflect that.
Thank you.
Welcome. They did the first time it was mentioned too.
901?
Oh, Lord of mercy.
I got new business.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just kidding.
No, I was gonna, I'm sorry. So, yeah, since we're here, that was old business. Anybody have any new old business? Mr. Davis? Good. All right, let's adjourn Budget and Finance Committee at 9:01 PM.